It's Marathon Monday, and coming up on Now, we're taking a look at some of your photos, and we're talking about the history of the Boston Marathon.
Interesting. And a fire destroyed a home in North Berwick yesterday, but the community has really rallied together to help the family who lost their home.
Hate those stupid robocalls you get on your cell phone? We're going to tell you how to cancel those.
Oh, this is News Center Now.
There they go. What a day for a run. More than 30,000 runners are probably resting right now, hopefully, after taking on the 121st Boston Marathon today. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Jessica Gagne, in for Lee, who is on vacation. Boston Marathon, amazing feeling. I went to college in Boston. Such a cool event to see, and you guys obviously love seeing it too. You shared your good luck wishes to the runners on Facebook and Twitter today, saying things like stay strong and good luck.
And he will win the Boston Marathon.
At the end of the race, runners from Kenya swept it, winning both the men's and women's division today.
The fastest man finished in about 2 hours and 8 minutes. The fastest woman clocked in at just under 2:22.
Now, Maine was well represented on the course. 229 Mainers signed up, and nearly 400 people hailed from New Hampshire. Now, if you're feeling particularly lazy hearing about all of these impressive athletes, you should also know that 254 of the runners are above the age of 70. That'll make you feel good, yeah. One of those athletes is a woman. One of the athletes that signed up is a woman from Woolwich.
Yeah, just about 1 year. Nice try.
Sorry,
nice
sorry, I get a little
You're
stutter. Get a little stutter. Woolwich.
It was about a year ago that she was actually run over by a car. Shelby Kaplan crossed the finish line. News Center's Johnny Mailer joins us with more on the fantastic finish, because you've talked to her before.
Yeah, and she's such an inspirational person. First of all, she's hilarious, and she's so positive despite this traumatic accident that happened to her.
Yeah.
We introduced you to her last week on News Center Now. As you're saying, she was run over by a car last summer. Both of her legs were underneath the front tires. Her injuries included an avulsion of her fracture in her left ankle, a grade 2 MCL sprain, and multiple abrasions. But she did not break any bones or tear any ligaments, so she wasn't working towards just walking again. She wanted to run and complete the Boston Marathon. And today, all that hard work paid off after she finished the race in 4 hours and 49 minutes. So that was the goal. And the thing was, it wasn't a matter of was she going to finish or not, because she was telling herself the entire time that she was going to. The time wasn't really an issue. It was just completing that and trying to qualify for next year as well. I did call her a couple times. I'm sure she's still celebrating. I thought maybe she might call while we're live on the air, but
of course
nothing.
Reception is real bad down
ready.
there too. If you've ever been, reception terrible,
Yes,
because everybody's calling their families and telling them how they're doing. So
I bet.
Pretty cool.
I bet. Hey, do you guys know how the Boston Marathon actually started?
I actually do not.
Well, here's the truth about
fact.
it, according to our partners at NEC. And it started in April of 1897 when a handful of men, get this, fueled by steak and whiskey, took on a course stretching more than 24.5 miles.
Tweeties, right? The route was extended nearly 30 years later to the classic 26.2-mile distance to conform to the Olympic standard. We had a lot of people talking about it, right?
A lot of people talking about it, a lot of people saying good luck to them, glad they did it. And, you know, I would say if I was a runner, today would not be the day that I would choose to run a marathon, because it was
too hot,
warm.
Nice breeze, though, right?
Yeah, it's true. You know, marathon runners like really cool temperatures. 50s, even 40s with drizzle is their ideal. Let's talk about yesterday real quick, because it exceeded our expectations as far as temperatures, and I'm sure nobody complained. 54 in Portland is the normal, and so is Bangor. Look at what we ended up with, a record of 86, just torched right past our forecast highs. 1 degree short in Bangor. We did pretty well today as well. Upper 60s, no 70s in Maine itself. Portsmouth coming in at 74. You can see the cooler weather. Look at the county sitting in the upper 30s for highs, and they didn't get the warmth yesterday either. Temperatures now in the mid 60s for the most part. We do have some clouds in the mountains and across northern Maine, and a few showers there as well. Those will kind of tend to decrease in nature as we had during the overnight hours. And temperatures, though, will drop quite a bit. It'll be mainly clear for most of us, and the cold front air that swept through last night is going to be much more noticeable. So tonight, temperatures in the 30s, and even some 20s. Guys, the extended forecast may feature a few snowflakes, so we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Devastating news.
I think we'll skip Keith later.
Right, yeah. We'll skip.
We won't get back there.
Hey, record-breaking temperatures and strong winds actually caused problems for a family in North Berwick who lost their home in a fire.
Yeah, that's a tough time of year. Firefighters say the fire danger is higher than usual right now, and the conditions caused the flames to actually spread a lot quicker, destroying the family's home.
But their spirit isn't destroyed thanks to help from their neighbors.
I love North Berwick.
It's the place Jack Goodwin calls home.
I've been there forever.
But for the time being, this hotel in Wells is where he is staying.
Everything's gone.
Singed baseball cards and burned out cars are the few things that remain at the home on Randall Road that Jack shared with his daughter, son-in-law, and their 2 young children. He says luckily they were not home when the fire started.
I don't know if everybody would have gotten out.
Jack says he saw the fire building up in the backyard and he didn't have time to grab anything before the flames took over the house.
I heard my cat crying. I couldn't see him. There was so much smoke. He didn't make it.
But from these ashes, a sign of hope has sprung up.
The response is terrific, but it's not unexpected.
Clothes, socks, toiletries, and toys for the 2 young children who attend school here at North Berwick Elementary.
This is just a few hours ago.
Principal Robert expects much more to come in as members of this tight-knit community find out what happened to their neighbors.
You become connected in ways differently than you do if you're in a larger city. You laugh together.
Do you like to help people?
Yes.
You learn together.
And here, you heal together.
Even though my house burned and I lost everything, I wouldn't give up my neighbors for anything. It brings me to tears. So, thank you. And if I could ever return the favor, please, don't hesitate.
The State Fire Marshal's office is expected to investigate the scene tomorrow. You'll find information on how you can help the family on our website.
My bad, here. Let's be. But when it comes to my nobody gives a Can you say?
Okay, this is a troubling video if you're scrolling through your news feed. Police say 37-year-old Steve Stevens randomly shot and killed an elderly man in Ohio yesterday, then posted the murder on Facebook. At a news conference today, local and federal officials say they are looking for Stevens in the Cleveland area. They're also searching at least 5 other states for him.
Let's be. But when it comes to my nobody gives a
Here's more news now. Police are still trying to figure out the circumstances surrounding a shooting. The crime scene tape still marks the scene today in Bangor. Police say 1 person was shot and taken to the hospital. No word on the victim's condition, and so far police are staying tight-lipped. Former Vice President Joe Biden will be in Maine next month, and it's topping the social charts right now. You may remember he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in January. Biden will deliver the commencement address at Colby College on May 21st at 10 a.m. It's an event that is open to the public. Former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders launches a cross-country tour here in Maine in just a couple hours from now. The Vermont senator and National Committee Chairman Tom Perez will be at the State Theater in Portland. They're focused on getting grassroots campaigns to win larger-scale elections. Sanders won the Democratic Presidential Caucus in Maine. The doors to the event open at 5:30 and the event starts at 7. It's free, first come, first serve, and we'll have live coverage starting at the event at 5:30.
All right, thanks, Jess. Hey, they keep calling and calling and calling and calling. Do you wish all those robocalls to your cell phone would stop for good? Next on Now, we may be able to help with just a few easy steps, including a quick Google search. First, though, you shared your photos from the Boston Marathon. Here's a few from the day as we head into break.
The girl may be poisoned, but that guy right there is New Center Zone Tennyson Coleman, having a great time at the Celtics game last night, busting a move to Bell Biv DeVoe's Poison. He made the Jumbotron, but with moves like that, how can you not? He totally killed it. Like, that was so fun. All right, so if you've noticed more of those annoying robocalls coming to your phone lately, there are more than 2 billion robocalls made every month. If you do the math, that's more than 7 robocalls per person. So here are some things you can do online to stop them. First, Google your own smartphone number. Find out if and where your number is listed to see how these callers are getting your number. Next, add your cell number to the Do Not Call list, which is donotcall.gov. And if you're already registered and still get these calls, better report them to the FTC. Now, third, block calls and texts from specific numbers. And finally, download apps that help block out scams, including Nomo Robo and Truecaller. On social media, you gave us your clever ways of avoiding those robocalls. Jen says she set her phone to deny calls from private numbers and numbers not in her contacts. And Stretch said that when he answers a spam call, he sternly informs them that it's a government-issued phone and to not call the number after a few weeks. It's nice and quiet. Now, I actually downloaded those apps earlier today, and basically what they do is they kind of screen the number that is incoming to your phone first to make sure that it's a legitimate number and not a spam or a telemarketer. So you know whether or not to pick it up as your phone is ringing, which is pretty cool. So
it does work.
Right? It does work. And
I get
we've heard some good
those.
feedback on social media too. So.
Yeah, I usually just ignore the numbers I don't know.
If it's not in your phone, you're not getting answers.
Exactly.
Hey, on the topic of electronic devices, you may have never made the connection between your computer and chances of fertility.
Can't say that I have.
Yeah, but if you're trying to have kids, keep an eye on your man's laptop.
To be more specific, keep an eye on where he keeps his laptop. Carolyn Bruck explains.
Netflix, eBay, Craigslist, you name it. 30-year-old Emery Balthrey Jr. lives on his laptop.
I'm on that, I want to say, 2 to 3 hours a day.
More often than not, Emery says his laptop is, right on his lap, which got him wondering.
How dangerous can that be to me?
Urologist Dr. Karen Preet Khurana says the heat your laptop generates can have a profound impact on sperm count.
We know that laptop use will increase your scrotal temperature by about 2 to 3 degrees. And the scrotum is built in a way that the temperature is supposed to be lower than the core body temperature by about 2 to 4 degrees.
While the temperature spike doesn't seem like a lot, specialists say it is significant enough to cause concern.
It can range anywhere from no sperm to decrease in about 50% of your sperm production.
And the placement of the laptop doesn't matter either. A 2010 study of 29 healthy men ages 21 to 35 showed if the laptop is on your legs, even if you're using a lap desk, it's creating heat. While there's never been a study that directly links infertility to laptop use, Dr. Khurana says you can certainly connect the dots.
If you're trying to have a child, don't take chances. Just put your laptop on a desk.
Carolyn Bruck, NBC Charlotte.
Which is great.
Well, you got us reading comments.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I've been using my laptop as birth control for years. That could go either way.
You are amazing. Hey, those warm spring temperatures aren't sticking around too much longer. Your full forecast with Keith is next on News Center Now. A lot of you had an extended weekend this weekend. Patriots Day is a holiday here, and many government offices and schools get the day off. But do you know why you had the day off today?
Well, we didn't have it off, but I actually didn't know. So we dug deeper. We caught up with historian Herb Adams. He says it stems back to that famous ride by Paul Revere, a time that changed the face of leadership in America.
The British, who had already occupied Boston in 1775, realized that if they were ever going to subdue these troublemaking Americans, they were going to have to probably A, get rid of the troublemaking leaders, and B, get rid of the supplies. So they decided in April 1775 that the British were going to launch a surprise attack on the town of Lexington, where they heard that there were supplies, ammo. On the 18th of April, the underground in Boston detected that the British were on the move. The signal was given, allegedly, from the North Church Tower in Boston, and that is what started the famous ride of Mr. Revere, Mr. Dawes, and Mr. Prescott out into the countryside to warn the citizens along that route that the British were marching. So it was no longer a surprise attack, of course. At the end of the day, the British had lost about 300 men for what they thought would be an overnight quick sortie. After that, no going back.
Okay, so because Maine used to be a part of Massachusetts, we are the only 2 states in the country to actually celebrate Patriots Day. So there you go.
Interesting.
Day off.
And not everybody here even gets a day off. I noticed going around earlier.
Yeah,
not even just us, just in general. But all right, so great weekend
Mm-hmm.
overall. Pattern change though coming, and we saw this last week. So I don't know if that makes it any better, but at least it was predicted. Upper 60s for highs today in most spots, some low 70s as you head into New Hampshire. Portsmouth coming in at 74. As we mentioned, a little bit warmer than you'd want for a marathon. Some clouds across the mountains and northern Maine. The coastline has been sunny through most of today, and then it will clear out through tonight as well. A few showers here over down East Maine. A lot of this is very, very light stuff, but still enough to just be touching the ground here and up and through the mountains, seeing some of the same. So high pressure builds in for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a good looking day, but it is much cooler than what we've seen. We were in the mid 80s yesterday, upper 60s in a lot of spots today. How about 40s for highs tomorrow? And that's a trend we're going to see through much of this week. We're going to have a hard time even getting at average temperatures through this week. On Wednesday, we start with some sunshine, but by Wednesday afternoon, some showers move in, and it's cold enough that some of this will be snow across northern Maine and into the mountains. That is Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Then Thursday, we do it all over again. We start with quiet conditions, and then precip moves in on Thursday night. Again, some of that will be a mix across northern Maine. So here's your hour-by-hour forecast. Through tomorrow, we see partly sunny conditions. I wouldn't say it's mostly sunny. I wouldn't say it's mostly cloudy. It's kind of in between, but it's dry. On Wednesday, we start with sun. Here comes the precip Wednesday night. And again, some of that is snow across northern Maine. Probably doesn't really accumulate to much of anything. And then another round on Thursday night. The biggest round of mixed precipitation likely comes in on Friday night. So when you put all that together, you can see a lot of the state is at least going to see some kind of snow. Now, don't worry too much about these numbers here because particularly along the coastline, this is going to melt on contact. But as you head into the mountains, you could be talking about a couple of inches of snow over the course of the week. And depending on how you feel about that, but the mountains about to wrap their season up or in some cases already have. So it's going to be messy, particularly Thursday night, Friday night. I think the best chance along the coastline to see flakes mixing in with the precipitation will be Friday night into early Saturday. We do, though, recover for Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday is much better, guys. Temperatures at that point in the upper 50s.
We could have skipped that. We could have skipped Keith.
I know. Right? Love that roller coaster that is spring in Maine, right, Cindy? And don't you look fantastically springy today?
Well, you know, it feels like spring.
It does.
Summer actually arrived at our house this weekend. I love it.
I love it.
We got a lot more local news coming up for you on News Center at 5:30. Are a lot of your co-workers out sick? I know a lot of people here at News Center have been sick. There's a good reason why. We're going to talk about that. Also, looking for justice, a group called Road to Recovery visits 2 Maine towns in search of sexual abuse victims. They're looking for anyone who has a link to a Jesuit priest who was also a professor at the Maine Maritime Academy in the 70s. We're going to have more on that. Plus, a look back at the damage from the Patriot storm 10 years ago. Patriots Day storm. It took homes right off their foundation, took trees and power lines down. We'll take you back to 2007.
Flashback. All right, thank you so much, Cindy.
Hey, a movie is making its mark in the box office, and it's got ties to Maine. We'll be right back.
We got a tank.
This is heaven.
The Fate of the Furious, that's the 8th movie in the Fast and Furious franchise, broke global box office records over the weekend. The movie features a tank designed and built by How and How Technologies there in Waterboro. The twin brothers were on the set for some of the filming for this.
And one of them actually did the stunt driving in the movie. Worldwide, the movie ranked in more than $530 million in its opening weekend. That is a lot of dough.
A lot of money. I went to go hang out with them. You saw probably last weekend the story that we did last Friday, and I rode in something like that. Their Ripsaw there. Awesome.
Unreal.
I want one. It's awesome.
Just a park a tank and, you know.
530, I wonder how much it cost to make the movie, though. It looked like it was a high theatrics kind of movie.
No, they're prepared to make way more.
Oh, I'm sure they are. They're
No
keep
spoiler
going.
alert, spoiler alert.
Okay, so today's brain drops. Have you ever heard of cancer sniffing dogs?
Yes.
And this concept. So I was reading an article about the other day and I was wondering what has kind of delayed this from happening. And so I did some research on it. And basically dogs are really good at sniffing. Say you give them 5 urine samples. That's usually what they're using, urine samples. And one of them is someone with cancer. With 99% accuracy, they will sniff out the one person who has cancer. The problem is they're not good for screening because there's no way to reward them if they're right. So the basic idea here is if you go and you say you just want people to basically pee in a cup at a doctor's office and have them determine if they have cancer or not, the dogs will lose their reward mindset because they won't be able to know until down the line if they were right or not. So it's kind of an interesting situation where what makes dogs so great is a problem here, which is they want to make you happy and they want to be rewarded.
Could you just give them a lot of treats?
Well, you can,
right,
but you wouldn't know. You could be giving them treats for false positives.
Interesting.
And so that's kind of what it comes down to. And the other thing is that dogs will get, trained dogs will actually get depression if they don't find what they're looking for, to the point where even dogs that search for bodies, say like during 9/11, they have to plant fake bodies for them during the search so they don't get discouraged.
Wow.
So if you were to go in a doctor's office and nobody had cancer, eventually they would actually get discouraged in the task. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of potential there. It's just hard to harness it in this setting.
I like this a lot better than the spider.
Amazing creatures.
Much cuter.
News Center at 5:30 is next.